Picture this. You're scrolling. It's late. You're tired. You've already watched about, I don't know, 30 videos you didn't mean to watch. And then one stops you. Someone is standing in their bathroom, holding up a bottle, some kind of acid, maybe two, maybe three. And they say something like, "This completely transformed my skin in a week." Cut to glowing, glassy, poreless skin. And you think, okay, maybe I should try that. Because it doesn't look extreme. It doesn't look dangerous. It looks smart, intentional, like someone who's figured something out that you haven't. But here's the thing, some of the most dangerous beauty trends right now don't look dangerous at all. They look like skincare. They look like hacks. They look like something you could try tonight. And that's exactly why we need to talk about them. There's a very specific kind of beauty trend dominating right now. It's not just products, it's DIY optimization. People layering actives, mixing treatments, creating routines that look like they belong in a dermatology clinic, but they're happening in someone's bathroom, filmed on an iPhone. And on the surface, it feels empowering. You're not relying on brands, you're not blindly trusting marketing, you're taking control. But something slightly strange is happening at the same time. The line between professional treatment and at home experimentation is starting to blur, and not in a safe, controlled way. Dermatologists have actually started flagging this shift. The American Academy of Dermatology has warned that misuse of active ingredients at home is increasing, especially as more people follow routines they see online rather than individualized medical advice. And that's where things start to get a little messy. Let's start here. Chemical exfoliation. Now, to be clear, this isn't inherently bad. Acids like glycolic acid, salicylic acid, lactic acid, they're widely used. Dermatologists use them. They can be incredibly effective. But what we're seeing online right now isn't just exfoliation, it's escalation. One acid works. Okay, so let's use two. Still breaking out? Add a toner, add a peel, add a serum, morning and night. And suddenly, what started as skincare turns into something much more aggressive. Dermatologists have been talking about this a lot. Dr. Shereene Idriss, for example, has warned that over-exfoliation is one of the most common causes of irritated, compromised skin she sees in clinic, especially in patients following viral routines. Because your skin barrier, it's not something you can just push through. In fact, according to guidance from the Cleveland Clinic, once the skin barrier is damaged, it becomes more permeable, meaning irritants get in more easily and water escapes more quickly, which is why everything suddenly starts to sting. When it's damaged, you don't just get a little dryness, you get redness, burning, sensitivity. Products that used to feel fine suddenly feel aggressive. And in more severe cases, people are literally giving themselves chemical burns, which is slightly different from glass skin. There was even coverage in the New York Times highlighting dermatologists seeing a rise in patients with inflamed, overtreated skin linked to social media routines. And the really frustrating part is that it can take weeks, sometimes longer, for the skin barrier to recover. So you end up in this cycle. You damage your skin trying to fix it, then you buy more products to repair the damage, and the whole thing just spirals. Now, this one feels even more harmless. DIY lip plumping. You've probably seen it. People using cinnamon oil, chili oil, peppermint oil, anything that creates that tingling, burning sensation. Because that sensation, it makes your lips swell. Temporarily. And on camera, it looks like it works, which is why it keeps spreading. But what's actually happening is irritation. Sometimes mild, sometimes not so mild. And Andrea Suarez, also known as Dr. Dre, has explained that these ingredients work by causing inflammation, not true volume, and that repeated irritation can damage the delicate lip barrier. And according to research published in the Journal of Clinical and Aesthetic Dermatology, essential oils are a common trigger for contact dermatitis, especially when used on sensitive areas. So instead of just getting a temporary plump, you might end up with dryness, cracking, peeling, or in some cases, hyperpigmentation, particularly in deeper skin tones where inflammation can leave longer lasting marks. Even outlets like Allure have reported dermatologists warning that these DIY hacks can backfire quickly. And again, this is one of those things where the video shows you the result, not the aftermath, not the next day, not the part where your lips feel like they've been sandpapered. So, why are these trends everywhere right now? Part of it is the algorithm. The more dramatic the result, the more people watch. Part of it is accessibility. You don't need a clinic, you don't need an appointment, you don't even need that much money. And part of it, this is the interesting one, is trust. People are moving away from traditional beauty advertising. They don't want polished campaigns. They want real people, real routines, real results, which makes sense. But there's a catch. Because real doesn't always mean informed, and visibility doesn't equal expertise. As many dermatologists have pointed out in media interviews, having good skin online doesn't mean someone understands skin biology. Someone can have great skin and still be doing something that would make a dermatologist quietly panic. There's also this language that keeps popping up: natural, DIY, clean, and it creates the sense that what you're doing is safer, more gentle, more in tune with your body. But that's not necessarily how chemistry works. Something being natural doesn't automatically make it harmless. In fact, dermatology literature consistently shows that plant based ingredients, especially essential oils, are among the most frequent causes of allergic skin reactions. They're potent, they're reactive, and when you start applying them to sensitive areas, like your lips, regularly, that's when problems start to build. So, what do you do with this? This isn't about avoiding every trend or being overly cautious to the point where skincare stops being fun, but it is about slowing down a little. Because the most dangerous beauty trends right now aren't the ones that look extreme, they're the ones that look easy, the ones that feel like a shortcut, the ones that promise fast results without trade offs, and those are always the ones worth questioning. Beauty trends have always pushed boundaries, and that's not new. What is new is how fast they spread, and how quickly something experimental can start to feel normal. So the next time you see a routine that looks a little too effective, a little too fast, a little too good to be true, it might be worth pausing for a second. Not to panic, not to judge, just to ask, what's actually happening here? Because following a skincare routine blindly, just because it worked for someone else on your screen, is a bit like borrowing someone else's prescription and hoping it works for you. Skin isn't one size fits all, and what you're seeing online is rarely the full picture. You're seeing the highlights, not the irritation, not the setbacks, not the weeks it took to fix the damage. And here's the slightly uncomfortable part: a lot of these DIY routines are framed as cheaper, easier alternatives to seeing a professional. But when things go wrong, that's exactly where people end up anyway: in a clinic, trying to undo something that started as a quick fix. Sometimes spending more time, more money, and more effort repairing the damage than they would have in the first place. So, this isn't about avoiding trends altogether. It's about being just a little more intentional, a little more curious, a little less willing to assume that viral equals safe. Because your skin isn't something you can experiment on endlessly and just reset when it goes wrong. And it definitely isn't worth trading for a trend that might not even be around in 6 months. I hope you enjoyed this bonus episode. If you did, and if it made you think even a little differently about what you're putting on your skin, feel free to share it. And if you'd like to support Beauty Unlocked, you can rate and review the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It genuinely helps more people find it. Until next time, my love buckets, be safe out there, take care of yourselves and each other, and stay curious, always.